Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sutta Devi Pranamami Haripriye Panchakalpatyurvyascha Kripa Sindhu Bhaevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasari Gaura Bhakta Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So today we'll start on Srimad Bhagavad Gita as it is 268. And we'll read until chapter 3, text 5. 268 is page 150 in the temple room. Sanskrit in unison. Tasmad yasya mahabaho nirgratani sarvashaha indriyani driyatarbhyas tasya prajya pratishtita. Therefore, O mighty armed one, whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Yanisha sarvabhutanam tasyam jagati samyami yasyam jagrati bhutani sa nisha pashato mune. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled, and the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Apuryamanam namashtayam samudram apapravishanti yadvat tadvat kamayam pravansanti sarve sasatinam puyunti nakama kame. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into the ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. Vihaya kamanya sarvam pumam staranti nishpriha nirmano nirahankara sasatim adamshiti. A person who has given up all desires for sense gratification, who lives free from desires, who has given up all sense of proprietorship and is devoid of false ego, he alone can attain real peace. Esha brahmi sthiti partha nainam praya vimuhyati sthitvasyam antikalepi brahma nirvanam richati. That is the way of the spiritual and godly life, after attaining which a man is not bewildered. Being so situated, even at the hour of death, one can enter into the kingdom of God. Chapter 3, Karma Yoga. Arjuna uvacha jayasi chet karmanaste matta buddhir janardana tatkim karmani goremam Arjuna said, O Janardan, O Keshava, why do you urge me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? Vyam shmirvena vakina buddham mohaya svirame tadekam vada nishchitte. My intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively what is most beneficial for me. Sri Bhagavan uvacha lokeshmin divavidanishta pura prokta mayanagha jana yogena sankhyanam Karma yogin yoginam na karmanyam na karmanam anabam Nash karmayam purushošnute nacha sannyasana eva siddhyam samadikshati. Not by merely abstaining from work can one achieve freedom from reaction, nor by renunciation alone can one attain perfection. Nahi kashchit kshnamapi jatu tishtanti karmakrit karyate yavasha karma sarva prakriti jaya gunai. All men are forced to act helplessly according to the impulses born of the mode's material nature. Therefore, no one can refrain from doing something, not even for a moment. Karmendriyani sammasya ya aste manasa sarmanam indriyartan vimudhatma nityacharasya uchate. One who restrains the sense and organs of action, but whose mind dwells on sense objects, certainly deludes himself and is called a pretender. Go back to chapter 2, text 68. Translation. Therefore, O mighty armed, one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. Purport by His Divine Grace Srila Prabhupada. As enemies are curbed by superior force, similarly the senses can be curbed not by any human endeavor, but only by keeping them engaged in the service of the Lord. One who has understood this, that only by Krishna consciousness is one really established in intelligence, and that one should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master, is called sadhaka, or a sustainable candidate for liberation. Sorry? Oh, suitable. Thank you. A suitable candidate for liberation. Hare Krishna. Maharaj, would you like to give any comments on this? Okay. So Krishna here is describing that one whose senses are restrained from their objects is certainly of steady intelligence. So if we want to be intelligent, then naturally we have to restrain ourselves from this material body, which that's the first teaching in the Bhagavad Gita, that we're not the body. And if we don't understand that, then how are we able to understand anything else? That's the first instruction that Krishna gives. So we hear this over and over again, we're not the body, we need to understand that. And, it may sound repetitive, but everything else after that is not actually having any deep impact on us if we're still thinking on this body. How can I actually chant Hare Krishna? How can I actually understand anything if I'm simply thinking I'm this body? Oh, I'm so great, I'm chanting Hare Krishna. Oh, there's a woman. Oh, there's a nice smell, or there's a nice taste, or the mind brings us away. So if we're still attached to this body, then we can't actually dive very deep, and we're not of steady intelligence, as Krishna is saying here. It's nice too, Prabhupada's describing here that we cannot, by any human endeavor, actually come to this level. We have to engage in the service of the Lord. So by doing so, then naturally we will become detached from the body. Like all of us have probably had some sort of experience engaging in service, and the body is not so much of a matter to us. We may, be able to go out in the cold, or maybe not eat as much as we have been needing to before, but since we're engaged in Krishna's service, we're feeling the sense of spiritual ecstasy. And the body is naturally, there's no separate endeavor that needs to happen in order to attain this. Simply by engaging in Krishna's service, we can experience this. And also, Prabhupada is helping us understand that we need the guidance. One should practice this art under the guidance of a bona fide spiritual master who's doing it already. So we can't do it on our own whims. We have to follow somebody who's doing it already, and they'll help us actually be able to continue this practice of bhakti yoga, because they've been doing it for a very long time, and they know, and they've been taught by their guru, who's been taught by their guru, ultimately all the way back to Krishna, who's teaching the great souls, and they're passing this knowledge down to us. This next verse, though, is quite interesting. What is night for all beings is the time of awakening for the self-controlled. And the time of awakening for all beings is night for the introspective sage. Srila Prabhupada's purport. There are two classes of intelligent men. The one is intelligent in material activities for sense gratification, and the other is introspective and awake to the cultivation of self-realization. Activities of the introspective sage or thoughtful man are night for persons materially absorbed. Materialistic persons remain asleep in such night due to their intelligence of self-realization. Ignorance of self-realization. The introspective sage remains alert in the night of the materialistic men. The sage feels transcendental pleasure in the gradual advancement of spiritual culture, whereas the man in materialistic activities, being asleep to self-realization, dreams of varieties of sense pleasure, feeling sometimes happy and sometimes distressed in his sleeping condition. The introspective man is always indifferent to materialistic happiness and distress. He goes on with his self-realization activities undisturbed by material reaction. So this is far out. It's talking, Krishna is saying that those who are awakened they are actually, in a sense, in daylight, but those who are ignorance are simply sleeping. And I asked once about this, if it meant metaphorically sleeping or literally sleeping, and the answer I got was that it's actually both. Because if you look, a lot of times people that are striving for self-realization, they naturally wake up early and they naturally go to sleep early, when the people that are ignorant are waking up late and going to sleep late. So I think that's pretty interesting, that we should try to awaken from this materialistic night and stop sleeping. Lord Chaitanya says, Jeev Jago, wake up, wake up. How much longer will you sleep on the lap of the witch named Maya? So that's actually what we're doing. Maya is stroking our head and, making us feel very comfortable while we're sleeping. Oh, it's so nice. It's so nice sleeping in this lap. But Lord Chaitanya is eagerly telling us, please wake up, Jeev Jago, wake up, wake up. This isn't reality. Wake up to reality. You're actually Jivera Sarupa Hoy Krishnera Nichadas. The eternal position of the living entity is that he's the eternal servant of Krishna. That's how we can actually attain happiness. And actually, in a sense, when we do go to sleep, sleep in peace rather than being disturbed by, all these crazy dreams of previous samskaras, or maybe we're still in anxiety from the day. And so we can actually attain peace at all times, simply by becoming awakened and understanding Jivera Srupa Hoy Krishnera Dichadas, that my constitutional position is to render service to the Lord and to the Lord's devotees. And once again, the pure devotees, they can help us understand how to do that. And I was really reading this verse earlier than the next verse, and I really like it. It's very poetic. A person who is not disturbed by the incessant flow of desires that enter like rivers into an ocean, which is ever being filled but is always still, can alone achieve peace, and not the man who strives to satisfy such desires. So these desires, they're just like a constant river, just flowing into this massive ocean that's just never ending. So one who's intelligent He's not disturbed by this. The desire may come, but he just lets it go on. He doesn't, hop into the river and let him take him crashing down into misery. So Srila Prabhupada writes in his purport, although the vast ocean is always filled with water, it is always, especially during the rainy season, being filled with much more water. But the ocean remains the same, steady. It is not agitated, nor does it cross beyond the limit of its brink. That is also true of a person fixed in Krishna consciousness. As long as one has the material body, the demands of the body for sense gratification will continue. The devotee, however, is not disturbed by such desires because of his fullness. Wow, that's amazing. The devotee is full in himself already with Krishna because he has everything he needs. There's nothing more. There's no need to go gratify the body. He's full in himself. A Krishna-conscious man is not in need of anything because the Lord fulfills all his material necessities. It doesn't say desires, it says necessities. So we may still have these mundane material desires, but if we really can see that, the Lord's taking care of all that I need, why do I need that nice brand new cell phone or jacket or house or car? I have a sufficient jacket, I have a sufficient phone, a car, everything's taken care of. What's the need of anything more? The Lord takes care of us so nicely when we simply engage in his service. Therefore, he is like the ocean, always full in himself. Desires may come to him like the waters of the rivers that flow in the ocean, into the ocean, but he is steady in his activities, and he is not even slightly disturbed by desires of sense gratification. That is the proof of a Krishna-conscious man, one who has lost all inclinations for material sense gratification, although the desires are present. Because he remains satisfied in the transcendental loving service of the Lord, he can remain steady like the ocean, and therefore enjoy full peace. Others, however, who fulfill desires, even up to the limit of liberation, what to speak of material success, never attain peace. The fruitive workers, the salvationists, and also the yogis who are after mystic power are all unhappy because of unfulfilled desires. But the person in Krishna consciousness is happy in the service of the Lord, and he has no desires to be fulfilled. In fact, he does not even desire for liberation from the so-called material bondage. Shri Shri Gaurnitai Ki Jai. The devotees of Krishna have no material desires, and therefore they are in perfect peace. To me, that is uncomprehendable, that we can actually, I guess I can comprehend it, but in my present moment, it's seemingly difficult that I could have no desire at all, even for liberation. But that's the level of a pure devotee. He's fully absorbed in service of the Lord, that he has no desire for anything except service for the Lord, and he has that, so he's satisfied. But he doesn't need anything else. He doesn't wish anything else to gratify him.
And the Chaitanya Charitamrita said, Bhukti Mukti Siddhi Kami Akaleya Shanti Krishna Bhakti Nishkama Ateva Shanta. So the bhuktis means those who are interested in sense gratification, unlimited desires, material things. Bhukti Mukti. Mukti means that ones who want liberation. They don't want to suffer anymore. This cycle of birth and death, they don't like getting bodies. They don't like going through the difficulties of material life. So they want to close it down. The bhuktis want to open it up and get more. And then the siddhikami, those who want the mystic powers, siddhis, they want to be able to do things that no one else can do. Supersede nature, become smaller than the smallest, go to places, things like that, mystic. But they all have desires. Whereas a devotee So they're called Ashanti. No peace. No peace because they don't have what they want yet. And then when they get what they thought they wanted, they find out, it's not what I wanted. I want something more. So there's no satisfaction. But the devotees, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama, saw their Krishna and Nishkama, Ateva Shanti. They can be peaceful because they don't have anything to obtain. Prabhupada tells a story about one very simple devotee. He's living in near Mayapur. And there was a very rich man. So he went to the poor man, the poor devotee. He said, I'd like to give you some money to do some things, take care of it. He said, no, I don't need any money. I don't need anything. He said, but you're living so. He said, I make a little rice. There's a tamarind tree here. I boil a little tamarind. I said, I'm satisfied, thank you. And I couldn't believe it. How could you be satisfied living like that? And when Prabhupada went and stayed with John Lennon, Yoko Ono, and company for some time, Yoko was impressed by how Prabhupada was so simple. She said to John, could you live like that? He's living so peacefully, so simply, he doesn't require anything. That's the peace of mind that people are looking for. They think, if I have enough money in the bank, and if I have enough this and enough that, I have good lawyers, I have to have a good backup team of lawyers too, and I'll be peaceful. But to manage lawyers is not an easy thing because they're very, very intelligent, very good at using the law on their own. How can you be peaceful trying to? And now we've got the lawyers managed. You have to get other lawyers to manage those lawyers. Make sure they're not taking advantage of you. So one thing after another. No peace. Even if you get a beautiful woman, you think, now I can be peaceful. But if she's beautiful, and others will be attracted, and they'll try to take her away from you. So you won't have peace there either. So yes, anyway, there's no limit. But a devotee is satisfied with what he's got. Because he knows Krishna's given me everything I need to do my service. He often, I remember in the beginning I used to say things like, all the devotees beat back. Little prasadam, future parties. That's it. That's so simple. But it's true. We don't need all these things in this material world. So then someone will criticize, why do you have cars and cell phones and computers? Well, because they can be used in Krishna's service. Then we shouldn't reject them. Because serving Krishna is more important than the individual trying to find peace for himself. Bhajanandi is glorious because he's serving Krishna privately. But even more pleasing to Krishna is the Goshanandi, who's engaged in bringing others to Krishna consciousness. Because if one lives in a city or uses cars, if he's Krishna conscious, he's also peaceful at the same time. Because he knows it's not my car, it's not my this, not my that. It's all Krishna's. And I'm not doing my own work. I'm not the winner or the loser. I'm not the beneficiary. I'm just a servant. So he's happy. And Krishna takes care of all his necessities. Thank you.
Thank you, Maharaj. I've heard the example of material life, material desires being like an itch that we just feel so good to scratch, but we just scratch and we scratch and we scratch and it still feels good, but then it starts to hurt and it still sort of feels good, but then it starts to bleed and we still scratch it because we think there's some pleasure there. And it's like also the example of the camel that foolishly chews on thorns. And it thinks these thorns are so tasty, but it's really his own blood that he's tasting, that he has an enjoyment for. So he's quite foolish in that sense.
Well, I had a question about, Maharaj said that we're not the ones doing the work, or the result isn't up to us. So sometimes, like today or some other day, we may be asked not to do our book distribution somewhere. And in one sense, it's a little disappointing. So I'm kind of finding, it's like, do I chalk it up that I didn't do my service properly, therefore I was asked to stop, or it was Krishna's arrangement, I'm not supposed to do it there? I guess I'm confused about this scenario.
Well, in one sense, it is Krishna's arrangement, but we have to be unattached either way. We have to be able to continue on performing our service with whatever it may be, with enthusiasm. And if it was something that we did mistakenly, like maybe we, for instance, if you get kicked out of a place on books, then how can I do it better next time so I can serve Krishna nicely and continue giving books to the fallen souls? But we still have to remain unattached. I remember I would always, come to my Guru Mata at the end of a day of Sankirtan. Maybe I got kicked out, or maybe it was really bad, or maybe it was really good. And I was like, yeah, Guru Mata, it was like, I did so many books today. I was like, Guru Mata, it was horrible today, so bad, And then no matter what the answer was, she was never so, nourishing. Oh, you had a bad day. Like, it's okay. Like, it'll be better. Or if I had a great day, that's so awesome. Keep doing it. Keep doing it. No, it was just, okay, either way, perform your service and be unattached to it. That's great. Or maybe you're a little puffed up. So you need to maybe this is good for you that you had this thing happen. You can't just go. So that was my realization from that. As far as performing service nicely, sometimes Krishna also makes an arrangement to smash our egos, because it helps me realize that I'm just a nonsense fellow. I have nothing good in me. Everything that I have, everything that I think is good for me, that's just my own pride. So that makes me no good, actually. If I'm thinking I'm good, then I'm no good. My Gurudev says, one who thinks himself, what's the exact words he says? He says, the lower the one thinks himself, the more advanced he actually is. And that's not like an artificial thing either. Like, oh, I'm the most fallen. I'm the most fallen. Your most fallen servant. That doesn't necessarily mean that, oh, and I'm advanced because I think I'm lower than everybody, so I'm actually better. No, it's actually developing that Chanadapis, Sahichana, Tarorapi, Sahishnana, Amanina, Manadina, Kirtaniya, Sahadi, thinking himself lower than the strong on the street. So we have to actually develop that mood of feeling completely low. Is that okay?
Another question about desires. So sometimes we feel like we have a spiritual desire, like maybe it's a particular type of service that we want to perform, but Krishna arranges that we're not like giving that service. So
ask Krishna's mercy for us, because we get all the things we want. Even though we want to do so many things in devotional service, we have to be careful, because there's still maybe some lingering attachment to profit, adoration, and distinction, which are subtle aspects of the same disease that's burning us all. So if there's some profit, desire, or distinction to be recognized, and that's still the same thing, more subtle. So Krishna's mercy that we're not necessarily getting the fame, recognition, the facilities that we think, if I had more facilities, I could do so much more. We might be thinking, you could do so much more, you'd be more recognized, and then you'd be able to be a historical figure and have more power. So many things that are detrimental for devotional service. So be thankful if you don't have certain things. And if you have them, if he gives you what you wanted, gives you facility, then use it for him and don't use it for sense gratification. But if not, be happy that you have some service you can do that's safer for you.
Thank you, Maharaj.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances.
Please accept mine.
So I have a question. So, in 71, a person who has given up all desires for sense gratification lives free from desires, who has given up all sense proprietorship and is devoted to Pasika. What is the hope that I'll actually be able to do that? Because I've taken on countless bodies because of this very reason, these reasons that Krishna is stating here. So what is the hope that in this life that anything will be different?
Well, Prabhupada says we can do it in one life. So if we hold on to his lotus feet and we hold on to his representative's lotus feet and his representative's lotus feet, then in that way there is hope. But we still have to do the work. We still have to endeavor to become free from these by engaging in the Lord's service.
Well, another thing that you see here, comrades, you see here, peers doing it. And in his case, he saw his father doing it. One lifetime. And even the first part of that lifetime was pretty much engaged in material activities. But by Lord Chaitanya's mercy. Namo Mahabharanaya, Krishna Prema Pradayate, Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya, Namne Gaurati Shema. There's no one more merciful than Lord Chaitanya. He's a mercy, more merciful than even Krishna. He's Krishna coming as a devotee, with the mood of Srimati Radharani. So Radharani's mood and Lord Chaitanya's power and Prabhupada. Prabhupada makes a big difference because he came and showed us. He came right into our lives, wherever we were. And he showed us how to be Krishna conscious, living in America. It was amazing. You can be, because we read about something in a book, like how you can do it in India in a cave or something. That's one thing. But Prabhupada came and went right into the cities, all over the country, went to Russia, showed how you can be Krishna conscious in Russia. So the Russians, they took it. We can do it in Russia. We can do it in India. We can do it in America. We can do it anywhere. Just chant Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Rama.
Rama Hare.
Just keep chanting. You'll make it. Kirtaniya Sarahani. To be in the Kirtan Ras is the safest place to be. In the middle of devotional service through chanting, spreading Krishna consciousness. So go on chanting, dancing, feasting, distributing it to others. And even if you don't make it in one lifetime, you'll be in a good position for the next lifetime. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita that one who doesn't complete it in his last lifetime, but he made some significant advancement. I'll give you an example. When I was in Portland, there was a Pakistani man, Muslim background. He was a professor at a university, and he became a devotee. So he had a Western American wife, or she was, I think, Scandinavian American. And he had 4 sons, and nobody in his family liked Krishna consciousness. His wife was okay with it. Kids were all right, but none of the family members. So it was very difficult for him, but he became a devotee. And he got initiated by Prabhupada. And then he died very shortly afterwards in a car accident. So we wrote to Prabhupada and told him. And Prabhupada said, no one should be shocked. No one should be upset. The promotion, because he's taken initiation, he's safe. So his next life he'll take birth in a very good devotee's family, and he'll continue. It's a promotion for him. He'll continue where he left off in devotional service. He just took initiation, first initiation. Prabhupada said, next birth in a very good devotee family. So to be born in a devotee family is very good. Better than being born in a rich family. So even if one doesn't make it all the way in this lifetime, whatever progress he can make, it's always there. We can go home for the next lifetime. But if we can do it in this lifetime, don't fall down. Don't leave the association of devotees. And there's a good chance to make it in this lifetime also. Krishna's grace.
Jai. Does anybody have anything else? Okay. Text 71. Actually, I'd like to skip to chapter 3, text 1. Arjuna said, O Janardhan, O Keshava, why do you urge me to engage in this ghastly warfare if you think that intelligence is better than fruitive work? Text 2, my intelligence is bewildered by your equivocal instructions. Therefore, please tell me decisively what is most beneficial for me. So Arjuna here is giving us a divine example on how we should be. He's not sitting in his mind just, contemplating, doubting. He has a doubt and boom, he presents it to Krishna. And he's teaching us that we should do the same. If something's going on in our mind, then we need to bring it up immediately because it's very urgent that we do such a thing and that we are able to clear these doubts so we can peacefully, naturally engage in the Lord's service. If we don't do that, then the mind will just keep twirling, keep going. And I've experienced this myself, and just lead us away because we're not satisfied. So we should be bold like Arjuna, and we should reveal our hearts, and quite frankly, we should reveal our hearts to those who maybe we're afraid to reveal our hearts to, because they'll tell us what we need to hear, not what we want to hear. If I go reveal my heart to maybe somebody who's, maybe they're not so bold, then they might, give us like some kind of answer. But if we approach somebody who's, they're heavy, then they'll give us the direction we need, and they'll just put us back in the line that we need to go. And for some people, at least for myself, that's kind of what I need. I need somebody just, no, this is nonsense. This is what you do. That's how I would do it. Some other people might have another way of, they need that sort of gradual push, but I do like this. Arjuna is boldly giving his doubt and allowing Krishna to easily perform the surgery. One thing my Gurudev does say, though, is that we should take shelter of those who chastise us, and that it's actually the greatest blessing. And in that way, the student who's more chastised is actually more advanced, is what he says. So if we end up in a situation where we are getting chastised, then it's actually like a divine mercy being rained upon us. So we can naturally sometimes, because of our false pride, get puffed up. Who are you? Who are you to say such a thing to me? Don't you know who I am? Don't you know I'm the best cook around? Have you tasted my prasadam? What are you saying to me? Too much salt? Whatever, something like that. But no, if it's like, no, this devotee is saying something nice to us, even if they're heavy with us, it's actually, they're cutting the hard knot in the heart that so deeply is rooted there that we must get rid of. We must get rid of this gunk, all this pride, all this madness, illusion, envy, laziness, craziness, all of it. I have to get it out. And we pray for this every single day, twice a day actually, in the Nrsinga prayers. Bahir Nrsingo, Hridaye Nrsingo. Lord Nrsingadev, please dwell in my heart, kill all of my bad propensities. Just rip them out. Just get them out of here. It's just like stool. Once we pass stool, we just flush it down the toilet. Get it out of here. Get it out. Get it out. You don't belong here. This is horrible. I want it gone. So if we intensely pray that way, we can actually we actually can get rid of these laziness, craziness, madness, illusion, envy. But we have to want to. But we hold on to this gunk. Hold on to the weed. Sometimes a weed, gives a flower. And it's like, oh, but we have our whole bhakti tree here, and the weed grows up and it has a nice flower. It's like, oh, wow, it's such a nice flower. But it's like killing the bhakti tree, the bhakti creeper. So we have to get rid of it, even though we think it's nice. So if anybody has anything else to add or correct, we have 1 minute. Okay. Thank you so much for tolerating me and allowing me to give this opportunity to render some service to you all and to purify myself and render service to my spiritual master. Thank you for tolerating me, and please forgive me for anything that I've misspoken. I have no knowledge on this Bhagavad Gita, but I'm allowed to come up here to try to learn how to present it nicely. So please forgive me if I haven't presented it as it is. Thank you so much. Srimad Bhagavad Gita Ki Jai. Srila Prabhupada.